Hi, I'm Olivia.
Hi, I'm Jesse.
Welcome to our podcast about relationship.
You've heard all the other relationship podcasts before. Now listen to one more.
I love our intro.
This
It's so cheesy. How's everybody doing?
Good, thanks.
Besides you, Jesse.
You were talking to me?
No.
Aw.
Oh, sad panda.
Oh.
So many things have been happening since the last time we recorded our podcast. Let's see. What happened? Oh, we celebrated our anniversaries. So, fun fact is that Jesse and I, when we started going out, um, it's kind of like the dates were like so close to each other when we met, and then when he moved in to be my roommate, and then apparently those dates kind of like close to our engagement date, which is like Valentine's Day.
It's really weird. It's like when you added me on Facebook is like in the same day too, I found out. It's like it all happened at the same time. It's really weird.
And then, so we got engaged on February 14, and then we got married the following year on February 21st.
Mhm.
And sometimes I forgot our wedding anniversary date.
Do you?
I was a kid, it makes either 22nd or 21st.
Can I give you a mnemonic how I remember it?
Oh,
So we got married in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
And people go drinking in Vegas.
yeah,
So how old do you have to be to drink?
21.
Mhm.
Or blackjack, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I guess like in February we've been celebrating quite a bit of love festivities.
Mm.
So
Gross.
that's been fun. So that's been a lot of fun. And besides that, life for me, let's see. I got a new job.
Woo!
So hopefully we can catch up more on doing podcasts now that I'm not so stressful about finding, new job. Yeah, and I love my job so far. Everybody's so cool.
That's awesome.
Everybody's so nice.
Proud of you, boo.
Thanks. Let's see. What else new with you, Jesse?
I don't really have too much new stuff to talk about. Same old, same old. Just been working.
Yeah.
Trying to do my streams more often, which has been fun.
Mm-hmm. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
What else new with me? Well, in the relationship department, let's see. I don't have much going on. Oh no, that's not true. So yeah, one of my long distance partners and I, so we've been kind of like having a solid relationship instead of just getting to know each other type of relationship. I don't know if we ever talk about how I met this partner.
No,
in
I
this
think
podcast.
it's been a new podcast since that happened.
Really?
I think so.
Because I think I met him in October. Maybe not. Maybe we haven't talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Where do I start? So
Once upon a time.
once upon a time, I broke up with an ex who was not very nice to me, and then I took a trip. I took a solo trip to Seattle. It was supposed just for me,
Mhm.
like to kind of like eat, pray, love.
I was gonna say it if you weren't.
But it was just a weekend, and it
Mm.
was during the Halloween weekend too, which is kind of like ironic in some sense because I supposed to go to Halloween festivities with my ex, so I ended up just took the Amtrak train to Seattle from Portland, and I stayed at a hostel for the first time, which was pretty fun and interesting. I love like meeting strangers. So,
Mm.
but a lot of people don't like that part, sharing a room with strangers.
So maybe people don't know what a hostel is. Like, how would you describe it?
Hostel is accommodation place where you share rooms with other people.
Hmm.
So usually they have bunk beds. So the one that I was staying in was like 4 beds to a room.
Hmm.
But the whole time I was there, it was only like I think one night there was like one person, and the other night there's like 2 people besides me.
Oh, that's not too bad.
That's not too bad, and everybody was so nice, and it was so clean.
Hmm.
But they also have private rooms, but that costs more, and I was like on the budget. So yeah, so I stayed at a hostel, and then on the second day, which is Saturday, I was like, oh, maybe I would like to meet someone, just for a drink and conversation. Trying to figure out like, how is the polyam dating scene kind of in Seattle.
Hmm.
Didn't really try to, have sex or anything like that. It was just like I just wanted to have conversation. So I browsed on my Tinder, and then I met, and then I saw my partner's profile, and he put on it that he's polyam and in ethical non-monogamous relationship. So I swipe right in the morning, and then I went about my day, and I got to see Come From Away. So I got a ticket for that for like $30. I was super excited. Yeah, and then before the show started, which is like that's like 8 o'clock at night or something like that. I look at my phone, and he swiped right on me. I say I sent him a quick message. I was saying like, "Hey, but ready to watch this musical?" But I was just wondering, like, if you wanna go grab a drink afterwards, because I'm leaving tomorrow. In the morning, like 7 o'clock train. And he said, "Yeah, and then, so we met after I was done with my show." And the funny part is like it was raining so hard that night in Seattle. Like my
You
whole
don't say.
my no, but it's seriously my boots were like soaked, and my clothes were wet, so I had to went back to my hostel first, and then I went to the bar and met him. Then we just had well, I just had one drink, had a couple drinks, but we were talking until like the last call, which is like super late. Yeah, we got along really well. Conversations was really nice. And then he dropped me off from a hostel, and he said like, I would like to get to know you more. And then we started like, just texting to each other. And yeah, and I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how to describe like relationship, like transitioning from just like texting toward to become like something more serious. But he came up no, he came down because I'm in Portland. He's in
Right.
Seattle.
Well, it's all relative.
He came down to Portland last month, and spent the weekend together. And he got to meet Jesse.
Hmm. Yeah, he's really nice. I like it. I like him.
Yeah, and we got to play some games and do fun stuff.
Mm.
And after that, it was just like I don't know. We just realized that we like each other more than we should.
That's tough, especially when you guys don't live in the same city.
Yeah, long distance relationship was not in my plan.
Mm. Hmm.
Like on my I I've had relationship long distance relationship when I was monogamous before.
Yeah, me too.
And it was not fun.
Hmm.
I mean, it was fun, but it was also not fun. So it was not really something that I was planning for. But our feelings for each other grew, and I went to Seattle a couple of weeks ago, and that was really fun too. So I guess we just continue on this journey, um, see what happens. Even though we just gonna see each other, once a month or twice a month,
Hmm.
which is super hard. But to think about it, there's sometimes like people that I have in Portland, not necessarily partners,
Hmm.
just friends. Um, I don't see them that often either. So,
That's true.
so yeah, but it's kind of difficult, and it's kind of like relating to like some of the stuff we're gonna talk about today.
Hmm.
So what are we gonna talk about today, Jesse?
We're going to talk about jealousy and envy and the difference between the two.
Or the similarity between the two.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Ooh, stay tuned for that.
Okay, so let's describe what is jealousy and envy. We you can go first, or I can go first, and then because I think both of us have kind of like different perceptions on what it is.
On like with any kind of word, everyone has different definitions
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, so that would be
Um,
fun to hear from both of us, I guess.
Well, I heard it discussed at one of the discussion meetups I went to with the polyam group about the difference between jealousy and envy, because people often use jealousy when they mean envy. Envy means like you want something that the other person has, and jealousy means, how'd they describe it? Jealousy means that you don't want that person experiencing what they're experiencing because you feel left out, maybe. I think that's how it was described. But yeah, what's your definition of it?
So for me, it's really like this. Like the way I see it, the way I experience it. Jealousy is if, say, my partner's name, say Brad Pitt, and
Well, I thought we weren't going to use real people's names.
oops.
Bleep out the Brad Pitt part. Don't let him find out.
Say like say like Brad Pitt is going on a date with from
Angelina Jolie,
With-
is that the one?
I think they broke up. I cannot follow celebrities
I don't
anymore.
know.
Okay, yeah. Say like Brad Pitt is going on a date with Angelina Jolie,
Mhm.
and I feel jealous. But the jealousy meaning like I don't want him to go on a date at all. I want him just to not do that at all, not do that activity at all. Completely. I don't care if he's happy about it or not. I just don't want him to experience that at all.
It's more like you want to take something away.
Yes, that's jealousy.
Hmm.
For me, envy, it's more, say Brad Pitt is going on a date with Angelina, and they are going to do wine tasting, for example. And then I'm just like feeling like kind of blue because, that's something that I want to do with him for a
Mhm.
while.
Me too.
And stroke his pretty hair.
Mhm.
But but I wasn't able to do that with him, and instead he's going with Angelina.
Mhm.
And that's envy, because like I still want him to experience it. It's just like I wish I can be there, or I wish I can be part of it.
I think that's a pretty good explanation of it.
Yeah, so that's how I divide jealousy and envy.
Hmm.
But it's hard for people to navigate sometimes. And I heard that all the time from people who either find out that we're polyam, or they already find out about us being polyam, but they still want to know if we ever experienced jealousy. And
Hmm.
I feel bad like correcting people because most of the time, common knowledge for everybody who are in a relationship is there's only one thing they know, which is jealousy. Nobody ever like, have you ever experienced jealousy or envy?
Mhm.
Nobody ever asked someone that,
Mhm.
or like some, or even in conversation saying, girlfriends talk. Say my friend, Samantha, and if they ask me, it's never gonna be like, do you feel envious about that? No. Usually people ask about like, do you feel jealous about it? So I feel kind of like,
Well,
I
they're
don't
just using a different word, but what they mean is envy, right?
see.
Or is that what you mean?
No, what I meant is like, I think we need to start, differentiate jealousy and envy.
Mm.
Now, I mean, like you and I do, but
Mhm.
I wish like people in general when they talk to each other or when they start feelings,
Hmm.
they can dissect that to know if jealousy or envy. Because I feel when there's an arguments that come from being, from either jealousy or envy,
Hmm.
they have different impacts on the relationship.
Hmm.
Jealousy, I feel it will take like severe. If you use the word jealousy, it takes a lot of the severity to the relationship.
That's true. Yeah.
Then, if you explain to someone, no, I just feel envious,
Right.
then, the severity of that, it's not as escalating as like if you use jealousy.
Yeah, that's why English and like definitions are so tricky. Like, they all have different like impacts depending on which kind of word you use. Even if you say jealousy, you might mean envy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that until we became polyamorous.
Hmm.
Because those are the things that came up in the multi-amory podcast and also in the discussion groups that we were a part of.
When we went to the discussion group about jealousy, it was like the most popular one too. It's something a lot of people deal with.
Yeah, and it's nothing wrong if like you really feel jealous,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
it's nothing wrong if you feel envy.
Hmm.
Those are feelings, and your feelings are valid.
It's normal.
But the thing is, like right now, what I'm struggling with my long distance relationship is because of the distance. Is that for the first time since we became polyamorous, which is like going on almost a year and a half, um, that I started feeling envious. I feel envious with other people that my partner got to spend time with, because I feel that with the distance that we're having, it's like I'm missing out on spending time with him.
Mm.
Um, you know, but at first I felt kind of like something's wrong with me, because I've learned about being polyamorous. Being polyamorous. I listened to a lot of podcasts. Attended a discussion group, right? Read a lot of books. And I thought I was prepared for it, for
Mm.
these feelings to come up. Um, but I I wasn't, and that's a struggle for me. Um, and I felt that a lot of people kind of are like in the same boat. Um, because I know a lot of some people that are like polyam, and they're still kind of feeling guilty when they feel jealousy or envy,
Mm.
because they felt like I should known better. Um, and I guess my point is that there is no way you can prevent it from happening.
Right. Is there anything that like helped you to deal with it? Like,
Well, like everything, I accept it, because the more like I said, oh no no no, I don't feel this way,
try to bottle it up.
or reject it,
Hmm.
that's even worse.
Right.
So I accept it. I communicated it with my partner,
Good.
and I told him that I'm feeling envy, with your relationship with this person, and I'm dealing with it. You know, I'm taking care of it the best that I can. Um, and at the same time, it's hard. Even if you communicated it, there's nothing that other person can do, because I want him to still live his life, and he's still gonna live his life. He's still gonna do things.
Mm.
He's still gonna go on dates with people. And I still gonna do the same thing. I mean, I haven't gone on other dates lately, but just because like my time is very limited. Um, and somehow like I've been talking to Jesse
No.
about I want to do theater. I want to do take pole dancing class. I want to do like vocal lesson, and I'm just like my time is already so little. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. But yeah. Another thing is like, I'm keeping busy. I think keeping
Hmm.
busy, keeping active with your life as nothing happened, as like nothing different is happening. That's, help to take my mind off things.
Huh, that seems like a good one.
Yeah. Um, Another thing too is that I remind myself that there is no specific goal of this relationship. Because polyamorous relationships are very different than monogamous relationships. We don't really have goals. Um, is maybe some people do, but for us, for you and I, we don't really have like goals saying like we want to get engaged to this person, or we want to
Mm.
get married, or we want to have kids with this person. So there is no goals. I mean, it sounds bad, like when people say what, but at the same time, maybe I think that's the best thing ever.
It seems more like you value the time you have with the person at the time. Like you're
Yeah,
not planning this future that may or may not happen.
yeah, exactly. But to come back to yeah, feeling envious. Um, I think that happens all the time too. Not saying that only with romantic partners.
That's true.
I mean, a lot of people can feel that way with friends.
Hmm.
I mean, I certainly feel that way with friends.
Yeah, me too.
Um, and I think I communicated that poorly when I was, when I wasn't aware of what's going on. But definitely now that I know the difference, I will communicate it. What about you, Jesse? How's your experiences with jealousy or envy?
I had a really bad one when you were going out with one of your partners. Like same thing. Like I tried to educate myself beforehand about how to deal with jealousy, and you should be happy for your partners if they're happy. Like that's all well and good, but sometimes you can't help feeling that way. Sometimes that you're just like, oh, this sucks. I wish they weren't going out with this person. You know. Um, but yeah, you were going out with a partner, and I had a really hard time. I think because of my insecurities. Like I'm a pretty insecure person. I try not to be. Like I really like who I am, honestly. Like I think I'm a pretty good person. But sometimes like your partner may have partners that you feel like, oh, they're so much cooler and they're so much more handsome and charismatic than I am. Like, ugh, like why would they ever want to spend time with me if they
Mm-hmm.
have that partner?
Yeah, I can relate to that.
So you had a partner I felt that way with, and that was really hard. Like I felt super. I was not envious. Like I definitely felt jealous. Like it was a relationship I wish you weren't having. Um, and what helped me kind of get over that thing was putting myself in that person's shoes, in that partner's shoes, because you and I we've been together for a long time, like years, and this person wasn't in our uh, wasn't in a relationship with you for very long, so maybe they felt like they were kind of the outcast of the relationship. I don't know, like just me trying to humanize this other person and trying to think of them as another person, rather than this, perfect, flawless human being, which is kind of what was in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to humanize them sort of helped me. And I was able, like, spending time with them too was helpful, like trying to learn more about them, realizing they have flaws too. Um, yeah, that helped me get over it. And eventually it turned into a relationship where I started to feel compersion. Like I was really happy to see you with this person.
Oh,
And that was really nice. And I like spending time with you guys after that point. And I think it was a really big growing experience for me going through that.
yeah, yeah. That's definitely hard. Going back to insecurities. I mean, I have that too. Um, I mean, this is the funny part. Like a lot of people thinking that I'm very secure person because I think people that I have this confident,
Mm.
um, and I am a social person. Like I will approach people if especially people that by themselves. I like
Right.
to make everybody feel welcome.
That's awesome.
But the thing is that I do have insecurities, and I think my insecurities is related to my childhood. A lot of my childhood trauma or bad relationships that seen in the past.
Mm.
um it's like how I don't think that I have a lot of baggage because of my childhood, but it does play a part on like the person that I am right now, the
Mm.
insecurities that I have right now. And I feel that when people start feeling jealousy, um I think a lot of that is like bringing out the insecurities in that person.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah. And I think my biggest insecurity part is that I'm afraid of losing people, not necessarily just romantic, but
Mm.
also platonic. um because in the past seems like that's what always happened to me, and not because of my wrongdoing either. And that's the thing, it's like something that you cannot really control, and I can't and I kind of know that. And because of that, I kind of feel scared that I'm gonna lose this person. But actually, you know I realizing if like I keep giving in to that insecurities, I will make that person not in my life anymore, because
Mm.
there is only so much there's only so much a person can handle, even if they care for you. um and especially in the polyam relationships, because I feel like so many, it, I don't know, like some people they can have like 5 relationships, and not all of those relationships gonna be like long relationships. They probably shorter. um so and not saying that people are replaceable, but because of the dynamic of the polyam relationships, sometimes I feel that you know I will be easily replaced,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's very understandable.
Especially if there's no ground of the relationship, like it's not like being married, or
Mm-hmm.
um if it's like a new relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's one of my insecurities that bring out the feeling of like jealousy or envy.
Mm.
I haven't really felt jealousy since we become polyam. I don't think. I'm trying to think.
Maybe in more subtle ways.
Maybe. But I do feel like a lot of envy sometimes come in play. Even like, with our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's usually happen when I feel like we don't have good quality time together.
Yeah, for sure.
So, that's something that I don't know.
Scheduling that kind of stuff is super important. And also, like, I don't know, I think little gestures help a lot. Like, just showing appreciation for your other partner is super important.
Yeah, but and that's another thing too. Like you and I, we can do that easily because we already know how the other person is.
Mm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
harder like with new partners, I feel.
Learning what their love languages are.
Yeah, and also communication style, like what their communication style is.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I can be a little bit much for partners that don't have the same habit of communicating. Like me, I communicate with you whenever either like good.
Throwing pans
Yeah.
and shouting and yelling and throwing rolling pins.
Throwing disco at you. Here, take care of your child.
I like our communication style. I think it works.
No, I mean, like you and I, we will communicate if it's like, hey, this feeling is bothering me. Can we talk about this?
Well, honestly, I feel like I could talk to you about anything. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
but there are some new partners that might work.
Hmm.
It's like one of my partners. It's kind of like it's not like we're struggling. I mean, we're still communicating, but we have very different communication style, and it's kind of like I have to kind of help teach him on like nonviolent communication and things like that. Um, so you know, it's one of those things that you have to do if you feel envy or jealousy. You cannot just keep it to yourself, and thinking like, oh, let him figure it out.
Well, and sometimes defining those terms for your partner can help because not everyone's read books or listened to podcasts. Like sometimes, you know, giving someone a little bit of context
Mm-hmm.
into what you're talking about can be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Like explaining the difference between jealousy and envy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at the same time, I feel like this some people also having a hard time with self pride. Even monogamous people, or polyamorous people, they when they well, I feel like um, jealousy or envy is not something that is embarrassing for you to admit if it happened. Because sometimes people like kind of like downplay it. You know, like if someone asks you, like, so do you, are you feeling jealous? You know, and they're like, me? No,
Right.
no, no. I never feel jealous.
Mm.
Like,
Especially as a polyam person, it's supposed to be sort of a point of pride to not
yeah,
feel jealous,
yeah,
which is
right?
not very helpful.
Yeah. I
Mm.
feel like, we if that happened, you gotta accept it and
Own
say,
it.
yeah, or like saying, yeah, I'm having a difficult time with this, you know. And maybe if you admit that, then that other person, either your partner, your friend, whoever, they can, help you.
Hmm.
Not necessarily like giving you advice, but, they can give you comfort, maybe.
Or just understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, or validating your feelings,
Hmm.
because that's important. Validation is a big thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so jealousy and envy are two things that a lot of people are wondering about, especially especially for general public, like the most monogamous people, when they got exposed to polyamorous relationship. That's like the first thing that pop in their head,
Hmm.
or like that's the first thing they say, like, I cannot do that because I will feel jealous.
Right.
um but the thing is, like, polyamorous people, we are doing it and we still feel jealous,
Hmm.
so there's no escaping it.
Right. Yeah. That's a big misconception for sure.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing either if you're experiencing it. I
Hmm.
guess, like, that's my point.
That too. Yeah. It's a lot of people think it's a deal breaker if you feel jealous for something.
Yeah, and I had an ex who, his big thing is like, oh, I don't like it if my partner feels jealous. And I was like, you cannot help that.
Yeah.
You cannot help that from happening unless you are dating a Siri or you're dating an Alexa.
That sounds all right. They can tell me jokes and sing a song.
But I'm sure they still feel jealous. You can ask them, like, Alexa, are you feeling jealous? I think there is something like that. Like, what do you like? Hey, Alexa, what do you think of Siri? Something like that. Something like stupid
That's
thing
really
like
funny.
that. And I also don't like how our pop culture, TV, movies, they put the jealousy in this pedestal of like, if you're feeling jealous, then that means you love this person.
Right.
Or if he's jealous of you seeing you with another person, that means he's the one.
Or vice versa. If you're not feeling jealous, that means you don't love that person. And it's like,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
fucking bullshit.
There's a lot of fucked up things with it.
That's bullshit.
Mm,
That's bullshit to the point.
yeah.
And I hate how like we were programmed that way.
Mm.
You know, it's not like our parents taught us that, like, but by consuming the entertainment, the movies, and the TV shows since we were growing up.
Well, and it's been around a long time, those kind of stories.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like we were programmed that that's what's acceptable, and
Mhm. That's what love is supposed to
that's
look
what
like.
love is supposed to be.
Hmm.
If that guy is jealous and punched that other guy in the fucking face,
Yeah, that's heroic.
yeah, that's the person that you wanted,
Right.
want to be. I was like,
Mhm.
fuck bullshit. My version of it is
Pretty
gonna,
bad.
my version of it is like, if that guy, buy that other guy a beer and give him a hug and say,
Aw.
and say like thanks for, taking care of my, partner,
Hmm.
then, that's like a fucking, love story for me.
Oh, that's really sweet.
But, that's not on TV. That's not on movie because that's not gonna sell anything.
Yeah, you can't make a reality show. You can't make a bachelor out of that.
Yeah,
It's like, I pick all of the ladies. I give them all roses. It's like,
it doesn't
oops.
it doesn't create conflict. And I hate that. Like,
Or the conflict gets resolved. Like,
yeah, but don't you think that if there are more things like that people will see in their day-to-day life, people will not be so triggered by feeling jealousy or envy.
mm,
They're not gonna like make it feel like, oh, I'm feeling jealous, this is the right feeling to feel.
mhm.
I am so right in feeling this way. My partner shouldn't look at that girl, even though that the guy doesn't do anything, he's just looking.
Mm.
But my partner shouldn't look at that girl. He should just look at me 24/7. But that's how that's how love is supposed to be,
It's a little possessive.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, I feel if we just like make it not such a big deal,
Mhm.
it will simmer things down. There will be less, divorce because of like arguments. People will save money probably by not having to go to marriage counseling. I mean, it sounds stupid, but I know people that really having a hard time with it. Because their husband looking at other girls. He didn't, and this is like monogamous couples.
Mhm.
He didn't even like talk to them, nothing, just looking. And the wife got upset, and it's not, and it's because it's her insecurities. Maybe she didn't feel attractive, or whatever. But that's something that you kind of have to work on your own, I feel.
Yeah, it kind of takes away responsibility. Like, it takes something that you're supposed to work on for yourself and makes it about your partner not doing something. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, you shouldn't be doing this thing when really, like, why am I feeling this? What do I need to work on?
Yeah.
So it's a big responsibility, jealousy. Like, it's just your body showing you signs that there's something, you need to deal with and figure out. And usually it has more to do with yourself rather than what your partner's doing, like you're saying.
Yeah. And so I have a hard time when people ask me, don't you feel jealous? Like, how do you supposed to answer that? Because, for me, I'm not just gonna say yes, because then people were thinking like, well, you know, being in polyamorous relationship, it's just like feeling jealousy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I don't really want to go in that route. Like, no, I feel more envy, and envy is this. It's kind of like preaching to a freaking choir, and or I can just say like, no, and then, but then it gives like this um, false perception of what polyamory is. So it's kind of like the question that I just avoided to answer.
Yeah, it's gonna keep coming up though.
I just say like it's It's more complex than that.
Listen to our podcast,
I know.
episode 6.
Oh my god.
Uh,
So, do you have any tips on how to um reduce feeling jealousy or envy, or to settle down your insecurities?
I mean, everyone's different.
Yeah.
What works for me is writing down my feelings.
Mhm.
Like, either writing a letter to that person and not sending it can be a really helpful exercise, or, just writing down, yeah, just what I would want to say to that person in a notepad, or, writing down my feelings and getting them, like, outside of my heart and outside of my head and onto paper helps me kind of let go of stuff like that.
Mhm.
And again, it's all like, for me, it's insecurities. Like, it's something I need to deal with. It's like high school shit that I still haven't figured out. So that's kind of what I keep in mind when I get feelings like that.
Mhm. For me, it's the same thing. I like to write things down too, and besides that, it depends on what the situation is. If like my partner has a new partner or someone and he's dating for a few times, and I'm curious to know this person, or even like if my partner is married and I want to meet their wives, then I will ask to meet right away, because I feel um the longer it is for this person as an unknown entity for me,
Hmm.
the more things that I made up in my head about it. It's kind of like, maybe she's prettier than me, maybe, she's skinnier than me, maybe, she is amazing, she's loving, blah, 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 Even if that's true, you know, that's still harder if you don't have an actual person to relate all of those to. And so I kind of like asking to my partner, like, hey, can we do, can we hang out with this person? I just want to get to know them, you know?
That's really good.
Um, yeah, that's like one of my tips that, work for me. But sometimes it doesn't work either. So, you know, it's just like, I don't know, it's complicated. But it definitely helps to get you to that point where you can start feeling comfortable of like what's going on.
Yeah. I think those are all very good tips, very helpful for something that's so complicated that everybody deals with, not just polyamorous people.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think like it came like when we were little too. We were so
Hmm.
programmed to do that. Um,
I always wanted the red Power Ranger, and
right?
my brother had it, and I was like,
Well, for me, it was like, see, this is part of like why I know I'm polyamorous, because even when I was 6 years old, I had two
brag
boyfriends.
about it.
I had two boyfriends. But I was still feeling jealous when like one of my boyfriends, gave this other girl, their eraser or something stupid like that. Or like we had this like play area when I was in elementary school.
Hmm.
And if like they gave a doll, to another girl instead of me, I felt just like
I want to smack a bitch.
that's exactly how I felt. But I didn't know that was jealousy.
Hmm.
Didn't know what it is.
Mhm.
Didn't have a name for it. I was 6.
Mhm.
But I know the feeling. And then as I get older, I related that feeling, to my how I felt on my relationship.
Mm.
And then I was like, shit, I felt jealous when I was 6.
That's funny.
So, it's something that is unavoidable. I guess that's my point. And there's so many discussion you can have. There's so many things you can do. Read a book, listen to podcasts. Multi-Amory is great. Besides our podcast, there are more educating than ours.
Yeah, they have a lot of good tools.
Yeah. But there's so many things you can do to improve yourself. That's my point. But the thing is, if it happens, accept it.
And it's okay.
And it's okay. Work on it. And even if doesn't solve it right away, keep working on it.
Mm.
You know?
That's really good.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what else do we have?
So, as always, we are sponsored by audible.com.
Not yet.
You can use our promo code Pepe's Pinata. Then please use that. It supports our podcast and helps us keep making podcasts.
No, please don't do that.
An audiobook I'd recommend is the graphic novel Sin City. It's really good in audio form. Okay, we don't have any sponsors. I don't know who would sponsor this. If you'd like to sponsor this mess, please reach out.
Yeah, please reach out.
In all seriousness, we do have an email address. If you have any questions about polyamory or if you're having relationship issues, Olivia's really good to talk to. I'm always happy to listen to. Feel free to reach out to us at jesseoliviapodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
That's our email, and we'll do our best to get back to you and help out however we can.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook under the same name, Jessie Olivia Podcast. And if you're watching this on YouTube, we also have a website, JessieOliviaPodcast.com.
Mm-hmm. And please subscribe on YouTube if you're on there.
Yeah, subscribe, please.
Give us a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Slam that bell icon.
And share with your friends and family.
Or we'll kill you.
What? No! This is why we don't have subscribers. Okay. We better end this before it comes to
it's getting worse.
By episode 60, this podcast is gonna be like totally different. No.
Titled Downhill Fast.
And the music for our podcast is made by Casey Frentum. Okay, guys. We will see you at the next episode.
Take care. We love you.
Take care. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.